I'm David Marks.
And I'm David Holt.
And welcome to the Money Tree, brought to you by...
Who's it brought by?
There's several bring by.
I'm just kidding. We appreciate mountainvalleynewspaper.com. I said all that right. mountainvalleynewspaper.com. That's their website address. Also, Farmers Telephone TV. Channel 6. We appreciate them. And we're having a great time talking about financial stuff.
We are. And, even this morning, before we started broadcasting or recording, whatever you want to say, we've had a good time.
He's made fun of me, let me just say.
That might be possibly true.
That is true. So we hope that you're having a great day.
There's no collusion, though.
Collusion?
Yeah.
Let's don't get into politics. We're talking about money, not politics.
That's true. Have you had a good week so far?
I have. It's been a busy one as a pool manager, and it's hot June weather. We've been covered up, and I feel like I'm the hot dog king. I have sold more hot dogs than anything. I might as well get me a little cart and be a vendor in the streets.
That's right. Maybe you need a cart to push around the pool. Have a little bell.
No, there's not air conditioning around the pool.
That's true. That's a good point.
In the office area, there's air conditioning there.
So those poor lifeguards sit out there in the summer heat and humidity in Alabama, and you just are sitting in there, feet propped up.
No, my feet are not propped up. I'm doing something, but they're getting a tan, and they're getting paid to sit by the water, and so...
I would call that a win.
I'm good to my employees. I am.
So I have something that I want to throw at you. It's a fact, a financial fact of the week, if we can call that.
Are we adding something new to our show? A financial fact of the week?
Financial fact of the week. And I want to try to do this.
How did you come up with this, by the way?
Just spur of the moment. One night I was sitting around and I thought, we need to add, you want to always grow as a person and as a financial planner. So I want to give a financial fact for the week. Did you know Warren Buffett? You know who Warren Buffett is?
He's a wealthy man.
He is. He's not the singer of Margaritaville. That would be Jimmy Buffett.
Hey, we listened to Jimmy Buffett radio, by the way.
I did too yesterday. I was out working.
When I started that, the lifeguard's like, who is that?
I didn't know who Jimmy Buffett was.
I know.
He's an Alabama guy.
These young people today, they don't know.
Well.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Warren Buffett, not Jimmy Buffett, but Warren Buffett, lives in the same house that he bought in like 1952. Now this man has made billions of dollars, paid like $56,000 for his 2,200 square foot house, still lives in that same house.
So he is very frugal, much like someone else we know.
Cheap. I'm cheap. Warren Buffett's frugal. Billions versus pay my bills and I'm happy.
Okay.
As long as I don't make too big of a car payment.
That is a neat fact.
It is a neat fact, and I thought that would be something every week.
But when people win the lottery now, there's even a show that they want my lottery dream home, and once they get this, they're ready to spend it all on a house.
Right.
And I'm like, how are they going to keep that house up?
Well, you have to pay taxes and utilities and upkeep because there's always remodel, and that's one thing about. There's a TV show I think called Lottery Changed My Life or something like that. And the thing that people that win the lottery are kind of like professional athletes. Most professional athletes wind up going bankrupt within 3 to 5 years after they leave their sport. And that's because they live above the means that they can manage. So Warren Buffett, of course, has been very frugal. He's been very strategic with his money. He could have probably bought any property that he had wanted. Being a billionaire, I would want to buy a house in Hawaii. Well, instead of doing that, he stays in his hometown state, in his hometown house, and saves his money. So it's a very, very smart move.
That is a smart move.
Because most of his money's tied up in the market. What if the stock market crashed like it did in 1929? I know that's a long time ago. But what if that happened?
Yeah. And
he lost everything? He would still be able to live in his means.
Right.
So there wouldn't be, because when you buy property, you have to pay taxes. Well, you might have enough to pay when that $1 million check comes in, but what happens for the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life?
And there's upkeep, maintenance, utilities.
Sure.
People, I don't think they just realize that.
Sure.
So that's something to keep in mind.
The home is
That's a great financial fact.
Yeah, I thought that was something kind of interesting. And we'll have another one next week when we film.
Yes, we added something new. We're growing. We're getting better.
That's right. Bigger, better, stronger. Isn't that how it goes? Something
is
like
that the word? I don't know.
So you said that you're working at the pool, and that brings us, segues.
Oh my gosh, we're segueing again.
Into what we're going to discuss.
That's not the riding thing with two wheels that you lean forward, right?
It is.
Is it?
That's a segue.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure how they developed that name, but we'll use it as a term.
Have you ever rode those?
I haven't.
Okay.
I would probably.
My wife and daughter have, and they survived. They did well.
I tried one of the hoverboards one time.
Oh, no.
That was a bad idea.
I need something to hold on to.
Yeah, that was a bad idea because I kept just sitting there going in circles. couldn't figure the balance.
Okay,
out.
we're segueing to financial things.
So this week we're going to talk about ways that you can get out of debt by working a second job.
Second job.
Yes.
That's
so,
what I do.
So we
That's
might even say
do.
we're working our way out of debt, Dave. Where my credit score goes high. You didn't
He's
want
a
to join
star. I don't know.
I thought he would join in. He didn't.
I don't know the lyrics, but I do like the idea.
Yeah. Well, you know.
We go ahead and pay royalties on that.
No, because it's a parody. I did a little research, and it's kind of like Weird Al Yankovic. If anybody knows who that is,
I know who that is.
Okay, Weird Al Yankovic. You know, he gets away with what he does because he changes a little bit of it. So, sorry, Four Seasons. I guess you're right on that one.
I know it's kind of a cute idea. Working my way out of debt, Dave.
I threw the Dave in there.
What's the next line?
Where my credit score goes high.
Ha ha ha! Credit scores.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried it out in the shower this morning, and you actually responded better than I thought. Better than the Mighty Mouse thing. So you did good with that.
So we're trying to help you get out of debt, and one way is a second job. I have one. You have one. I've worked many second jobs.
I have also, and you know. The thing about a second job is it's a great way to work your way out of debt, but it takes a little bit of planning in doing that. Now, the options are open because remember, this is something that you're going to supplement your income with.
Right.
But there's things you have to think about before you do that. So let's talk about that for just a second. Think about other ways we can get out of debt that we've discussed.
Well, first of all, there's the envelope system.
The envelope system, of course, the heavy hitter, and we published that video actually last night online on our Facebook page.
Yes,
and on YouTube.
Also, it's that really cool Excel spreadsheet they can download off the site where you plug your stuff in. You get a beautiful little pie chart telling you where your money's going.
Yes, the expense tracking and the envelope system, two great ways to work out of debt if you are managing one job. But let's say that that's just not enough.
Okay.
So you're going to the second job. So you talked about that. If we can, let's go to our first slide.
Okay.
Look
first
at that
slide.
real quick. Looking at our first slide, we can see that we're working our way out of debt, and a secondary job provides supplemental income. Okay. Also, you can fit it in with your regular job. So this is something that you can do with alongside the job you already have, the career you may have, and I'm going to let you discuss that in just a few minutes because you do that.
I have done it for years, yes.
Right, and it serves its purpose. The purpose of this job, of course, is to work your way out of debt. Now, what if you say, well, I would like to buy a new vehicle? Okay, would you use your secondary job to eliminate that debt?
You could.
You could. So it applies to...
Wait, I got one right?
You got one right. And it applies to a broad spectrum of debt elimination.
Okay.
So let's say that you are taking a second job, which is...
managing the city pool.
Managing the city pool. And you decide that with that money, you have a car payment existing or you're going to add one or the other. You need to take that money that you make, set it aside, and pay that car payment with it. That would be what a secondary job does for you. Now, can you use it for savings? Can you use it for vacation?
You could.
That's where a secondary job is absolutely just great at trying to help you.
I thought you were going to say Paramount.
I can say Paramount. You're doing better. Paramount. I'm impressed.
Hey, I got a few good brain cells left.
So
my brother last night was making fun of my gray hair. I'm like, look, it's hanging on.
That's right, which is not what mine is doing.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, secondary jobs and ternary jobs would be, there's your word.
I have to look that one up.
Yeah, would be something that I feel like that a lot of people would consider, but some have not always exhausted their resources in doing. So let's give you an example.
Okay.
When I was in college, I was a cook at Ruby Tuesdays.
Yes.
In Gadsden, and the work environment was very good. I had a very good boss. He was very, kind to allow me to talk about my viewpoints, because a lot of the guys in the kitchen knew where I stood on my faith, and they didn't really take that same. So we would discuss those things. He was fine with that. There was a board above our kitchen door. He'd let me write Bible verses on. Anyway, it was very, very open situation. Well, he left to go to another job, as good managers do. And when he did, we had a manager who come in who was right the opposite of that. And so I saw myself in a rough situation there, and I knew that I had to get out of it. So a very good businessman that I know of from the Jackson County area, his name's Rex Cresswell, helped me get into online selling in eBay.
Okay.
And I actually started making more money doing that than I was doing working at Ruby's.
Really?
So working with those jobs together, I was allowed to, of course, have a little bit more spending money. And when I was in school.
Well, you always need spending money in college.
In college, you always need
plus,
that.
a flexible job like that you can do on your own time is great.
Right.
And so that was something anybody could do.
That was something anybody can do. And I guess that kind of leads us into our next path here of finding an additional job. Finding that extra job.
Well, there are tons of jobs out there if you just look.
Right, absolutely. So let's talk about finding that second job if we can. Go to our second slide here. As we look at that, the first thing we see is that we have restaurants. That's always a great place because I know there's been several teachers who have taken jobs doing things like serving or cooking. There's several things you can do with that. So also you can do retail,
right,
and possibly even real estate. That might be a job. Selling homes. You might freelance or whatever you want to call working with a company to sell and show houses.
Right.
Okay. Can you think of another one that might go with that?
Not off the top of my head.
Think about what your nephew did for a while.
Work at a restaurant? Wait tables?
No.
I have no idea.
I worked life insurance.
That's true.
A lot of life insurance companies or insurance companies in general will allow you to work for them on the side because it's a commission-based job.
Right.
So you pretty much set your own hours, your own.
But commission-based jobs, really, there are incentives to do more.
There is incentives to do more. And I would think that someone who is in a professional type job, working with a company like I did doing insurance and investments, was really an advantage because they did not have to pay me if I did not work, and I did not get paid if I did not. So it motivated me and gave me that motivation to try to stay on top of that. So it's very good. Looking back at our slide, the next thing we can look at is city or public works.
Hey, that's me.
So city or public works, give me an example of that.
Well, you can manage a pool. You could work for the city in the summer, working at the ball fields. Mainly that's, I would say, more for a younger person, possibly. Not that the manager is young, but I mean mostly the lifeguards.
I was going to throw something in on that, but I didn't. I held my peace.
But I guess because I had done this for such a long time, it was something I just keep doing. People say, why do you do that? Well, it provides a supplemental income that, to me, I've used to offset expenses. For example, with 2 teenage boys and everybody driving a car, usually that money went to pay for tires or servicing a vehicle rather than take a hit to the regular checking account. We would squirrel that away and pay for those kinds of things.
Sure, and that's where, cities love to have responsible people working. They would not want to hire you if you were someone who wasn't reliable and trustworthy because you're going to be managing their property.
Right.
So let's say that you're working at the pool as a manager or you're working over the ball fields for your community. They want someone they can depend on.
Right.
And so education, of course, is something you have to be background checked and certified in, and that's a great summer job for you to do doing that, right?
Yep.
Plus you can get a tan or sell hot dogs.
Well, I sell hot dogs. I don't work on a tan. My tan comes from mowing grass, which could be another part-time job.
And that is the next thing on my PowerPoint is you see that lawn service, because you know what? You do not have to be I won't say highly skilled, but you don't have to be someone who has a PhD to cut grass.
Hey, someone's always looking to have their yard mowed and do the weed eating and that kind of deal.
So what if you had an acre of grass? The property that I owned, I had 1 acre basically. And you go out and say, I want someone to come mow my yard, cut my grass, whatever you're going to say. What do you think would be a fair price for 1 acre?
$30.
$30. I think that's a fair price. So if
another good answer.
Good answer. If you already have a mower and you have a weed eater, then you maybe a trailer or two or whatever, you can load that baby up and take it and make you $30 an
Within
hour.
an hour.
Yeah. So that's I don't know if you've run numbers on that. $30 an hour is not bad money.
That's good money.
And you can basically mow as many as you want to.
And work around your own schedule.
Right, you can, and that's the good thing about doing lawn care. Also, we know that you can explore your talents. Now, this is something that I feel like kind of. I'm not going to say that I stumbled into it, but I've been very fortunate in things that I've done. And to give you an idea of this, I've always enjoyed doing woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my dad is not a carpenter. He is more mechanically inclined, electrically inclined. But I always enjoyed doing that, so I had to be self-taught. And one of my favorite movies and my roommate's favorite movies from college was Lonesome Dove. And there's a specific sign in that. So I had made him one to hang in his classroom when he was a teacher. And he was like, you should think about selling these. It's pretty authentic looking. It's pretty neat. So I made 2 or 3 of them, stuck them online, and started selling them. And now I shipped my 554th one this morning.
Well, first of all, I'm impressed that that's a money, but I'm more impressed that you counted how many you've sold.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason that you've done that?
I think it's just a personal pride kind of thing. And,
Okay.
And I actually do take a picture of every one of them, and I put them on Instagram on the company's page so that I can track where they've been to and what number went where.
Okay.
So
you sign and date them on the back?
I have an official little stencil that I do that's my own that I created, and and then I number them, and then of course I have a Bible verse I write on the back.
What if they become a collector's item one day?
I would probably have to be dead or something. I don't know.
But that's just another way to make more income for yourself. Just I don't want to say piddling.
But it's true.
But spending time doing something that you love, just like making a sign that came from a movie that you were watching.
Right, and it takes about 2 hours from start to finish for me to do that. But, by the time that I ship those out and everything, I'm probably making about $20 an hour doing that. And it's something I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's something that I love to do. Also, another one that, this is something that, teachers could really lean on, but not just a teacher. A college student could do this, and that's tutoring.
Well, before you go there, let me back up and say I learned to play the piano when I was much younger.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the part-time jobs I had was teaching piano students.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was many, many years ago, and I had 17.
Oh, wow.
So you imagine, you work full-time, but in the evenings, like 3 days or 4 days a week, you would teach piano students.
Sure.
That might have added to the gray hair.
Well, it probably could have.
But it was fun, and it's really cool. It's gratifying when you have a student that you've taught and they get to the point they play,
mm-hmm.
and you hear your style of playing and what they do because that you've been in teaching them.
Right, and that goes kind of hand in hand with exploring your own talents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because not everyone can teach, not everyone can play an instrument.
Right.
But those who can teach and play an instrument together, of course, they're a good resource. They can depend on themselves.
I get calls all the time. I just don't have the time to teach piano anymore.
Well, maybe you need to do, a market value kind of thing there, supply and demand, and say, well, my time is very valuable, so it's $500 an hour. You think you?
No, I cannot get that.
Could pull that? Well,
no.
I'm just trying to help you out here.
Thank you.
The next thing you do is sell online, and this is something I reverted back to: eBay, Etsy, even Amazon. There's Fiverr is a website that you can do. Have you ever heard of Fiverr?
I have not heard of Fiverr.
Okay, for those who don't know what Fiverr is a service where you pay $5 for someone to do work for you. So, for example, let's say that you were very good at graphic design. Well, you might sell, design company logos, and it's $5. Now, the way Fiverr works is the initial buy can be $5. So let's say that we were going to do a 30-second commercial on the money tree. Well, we might sell a 10-second spot for the $5, but if you wanted to do the 30-second spot, it might be $50.
Okay.
So you can actually set your price range higher, but the initial way that was started was it's $5 for the services they charge.
Okay.
So this is something that I actually used Fiverr before. With another little side business I have, which is social marketing for companies, and I would go in and I would write the code for their website to make them communicate with social media sites through Fiverr.
Okay.
So, it would be a little bit of code work, and it's open to mainly technology, but it can be logo design, things like that. Back to eBay, Etsy, and Amazon. Just remember that those do charge fees to sell on their site.
Right.
So eBay is going to be about 10%, Etsy is going to be about 7%, I believe. And Amazon's probably going to be about 8%. Sometimes it's 4, depending on if you're.
But if you sell it, I mean, you're making money off of it.
Right. You just need to have a business model. You need to build in. If you buy something for $5 and you sell it for $5.50, you may not be making a high enough profit margin to cover your cost.
True.
So make sure that you're making yourself money in doing that.
Right.
All right. Also, on top of that, you can sell stock photos on iStockPhoto.com. You have a cell phone, right?
I do.
You could go out if you find this very nice picturesque place and you take an awesome picture and think, yeah, that's really good. You can post those on iPhoto or iStockPhoto.com, and you can actually sell those photos to people like me who may want to buy them for social media purposes or for advertisement purposes, things like that.
Wow, I'd never heard of that.
Yes.
There you go. Those people who love to take pictures, not selfies, by the way, but just pictures. Well, I guess you could use the selfie.
I guess you could, but I'm not real sure how. Some people could use their selfie. Mine could be sold for like keeping crows away from gardens or something like that. Deer's running away.
Everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose.
Under heaven, right? So the next thing you could do is you could clean houses.
Or your own house.
Or I don't know if you could pay yourself to clean your own house. But that, again, we're trying to give a plethora of ways that
means
people,
a lot,
that
ladies
does,
and gentlemen. It means
of
a lot.
ways that you can make extra money, and cleaning houses is a very good way. Now,
people don't want to do it, but they want somebody to come in and do it for them.
Sure, absolutely. So again, this is kind of like lawn care. You could set your own rate. You could say, hey, I'll clean it. How about this? Are you ready for this? Because a lot of people have started using PayPal or Square or things like that to where they can take payments through their phone.
Yeah.
But what if you said, I will clean your house for $50 every 2 weeks on your debit or credit card, but if you pay with cash, I'll clean it for $40.
Ooh.
Always report your earnings to the IRS, by the way.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, cash might be a little bit, because that might give you cash on hand to where you're going to pay processing fees with those other ones. So
well, and you could be an Uber driver.
You can be an Uber, not in our area, but
really,
maybe one day.
You can't do it here?
I don't think so. I don't think Alabama has opened up Uber yet. Maybe they have, because you can use it in Birmingham, can't you?
Well, that's
Not
Alabama,
sure.
by the way.
Birmingham is? No, what I'm saying, I thought at one time out, because I think it's very state to state.
Why don't you research that, give us a financial fact?
I can.
But I would hope that Uber would be here, because I'm thinking people always need a ride somewhere.
They do.
That would be a great market thing for our area.
It would be, but I think that the state has to allow Uber to actually come into your state and operate.
Okay.
So I think we'd have to check on that. Babysitting, or I know this may sound strange, but pet sitting. Because
people love their pets. My brother is one of them.
Yes, and so
I love my dogs, but actually they're my kids' dogs that they married, moved off, and I've inherited the dogs.
Right. So they're your
one of them loves me a lot. They're my granddogs. I hadn't thought about that. Bailey and Bella.
There you go. Well, a lot of people, spend a lot of money on their pets. They're very meticulous about them, and if you are good with animals, you may be a good pet sitter.
That's true.
In the same sense, if you're good with animals, you may be a good babysitter, because they're probably both going to be about the same. You take a 2-year-old and a dog, they may, they're going to
get along well.
They're going to be about the same. And the last thing, and this is something I spent about 2.5 hours Saturday morning doing this, is car washing or car detailing. And I mean, I clean the crevices and the cracks and in between the door jambs and everything with my vehicle, just because I think you should take pride in that. But there's people who would pay good money to do that.
Well, as a matter of fact, a lady at church told me Sunday that her kids had a car wash. All there. I said, well, what about yours? She said, no, I work so I can pay somebody to do it.
Right.
I'm like, well.
And a lot of professionals do that. That's what they like to do. They would rather have someone come in and wash their vehicle and clean their house and mow their yard, because they may not have time with their job, or they may say, hey, that's a luxury of where I've worked myself to in life, so I'm going to let someone else do it.
So we hope that you will think some of these out. There's tons of opportunities out there to go to work.
Absolutely.
To make some money. There's weekend work at one of the local motels. There's always somebody at fast food wanting some assistance. I mean, you go to several search engines like Indeed.com or somewhere to look for a part-time job.
Look online, and there's freelance writing. There's all kind of things, and that goes back to exploring your talents. Now, since we have established different ways you can find a second job, let's talk real quick about how that second job actually helps you eliminate debt.
All right, so
because that's our main focus here.
That's true. So now we're looking at slide number 3.
Slide number 3.
Hey, I segued into that.
You did good. Looking at slide 3, we can see that you eliminate debt by finding ways to separate money for your second job. Okay, so what you do is you have to make sure that you earmark the money for a specific debt, and you need to keep it in a separate account. You also need to reserve yourself enough for taxes, and you need to use the envelope system with this.
Hey.
So if you have cash, you can, of course, say, all right, we're going to have an envelope that's labeled debt, blah, 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 blah.
Or you can say vacation,
Sure.
or tires, or
Sure.
whatever you want it to be. You
or
just squirrel it away.
Simply savings, put it in the envelope.
There you go.
All right, would you like to take the next part?
We're going to stock picks.
Stock picks, yes.
I hope that's where we're going.
We're
going to stock
picks. The quick picks of stock. All right. So I have a few this week. Some of these.
Hey, there are more than 5.
Yeah,
You tell me you're going to do 5, and there's more on this.
Well,
side.
There's a reason why. Okay. We have a little surprise.
Hail
Mary pass in the
surprise.
stocks. Right.
Okay, here we go.
So let's look at our stock pick slide real quick, and of course we may come back to us. But the first one is Nuveen Tax Advantage Fund. The symbol is JTD. It's around $16 a share, which I know may seem a little high. I own this stock myself, and since I have purchased this stock and for the last month, I've seen a 4% return, which may not seem like a lot, but this is a low volatility stock, so it's not one you're going to see take massive jumps and massive falls.
Okay.
But I've seen a 4% return for the month, and it also provides me with a 2% dividend.
Which is good.
So that's 6% return if we're looking at that. The next one is Liberty All-Star Equity Fund. It's around $5 a share.
USA.
USA is the symbol. We've mentioned this several times. This stock is very low volatility. So it has about a 2% dividend and about a 2% return for the month. Of course, I think now that, trying not to stay in politics, but it does affect our finances, I think now that we're kind of seeing some things maybe settle down with Russia and all that's going on in the elections over in England, hopefully we'll see our market start to get out of its stale place. It's been kind of stale for the last month. The next one is Five Oaks Investment Corporation.
Which we've seen before,
We have seen before. The symbol is Oaks. And again, this is one that I own personally, and it's a good buy at around $5 a share, maybe even up to $5.50, but be careful over that mark. It has a PE ratio of 10, which is not the greatest. Remember, 17 is the number we're shooting for, but this one offers a 14% monthly dividend.
Wow, 14% is great.
They are paying a very good monthly dividend right now, which will help you, of course, turn around and buy more things you may want to in the market.
Right.
The next one is Gold Corp Incorporated, and the symbol is GG. It enables you to invest in a gold company. Now, it only has a 1% dividend, but if you know much about gold stock companies, they do not offer very high dividends.
Okay.
And that's because there's a high risk in gold, because it can be very volatile at times. The dollar is very strong right now. Okay. So what do you think gold has done?
Gone down.
It's gone down, okay?
Hey, that's 3 in a row.
You're doing great. You're learning about the market.
I'm learning about the market.
Robin would be so proud.
They would.
So the next one is Pioneer Natural Resources, which is the symbol is PXD. This is a higher price stock. You're looking at more like $125 to $135 a share. So it's something
that's more mad money than I want to spend.
Right. It may not be something you want to buy into, but there may be some that do. And it's an oil and natural gas company, and it has a 6% growth for the year.
Wow.
Now, this is the big hitter with this one. It has a 78% growth for the last 5 years.
Wow,
so
78% growth?
For the last 5 years. You're not going to find that in a bank savings account.
No.
No. And the next one is a penny pick. This is a Kenny Rogers stock right here. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
We're gambling here.
You are honestly 100% gambling with this stock. So we go to our investment club meeting last Thursday, and we're sitting there talking. This is one that we all decided we would buy and take a gamble on and see how it does. This is Opexa Therapeutics, and the symbol there is OPXAW. Now, if you look this up on your Robinhood app or on the app that you use, number one, you would not want to buy this one if you're paying commissions, because you're going to pay a lot more commissions than the stock is worth.
Okay.
I think this stock is a good buy. Are you ready for this? At 4.5 to 5 cents a share.
Wow.
So if you have $2 or $5, you can literally buy a lot of this stock, because I think within the next 6 months you may see that price double.
Wow. Then
possibly.
You can sell.
Then you would want to sell. I think it's a sell point. It's anywhere over 7 cents a share. It's very cheap. So you have that cell point. They developed immune therapy devices, and they have something right now that's being through the FDA process.
Okay.
So
and if that makes a hit,
if it gets approved, I think the stock could grow.
Okay. So these are our stock picks for this show. So we hope that you will get out that Robinhood app and be checking everything and make sure it's doing well.
That's right. That's right.
We appreciate you guys watching the Money Tree, and we hope you'll tune in again next time.
That's right. Working your way out of debt, Dave.
I apologize for that. We'll see you guys next time.
Credit score will rise. Have a good day.